Hello, welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Thursday, April 11th. Hopefully, everybody is having a good day so far. Today officially marks 2 weeks away from the 2024 NFL Draft round number 1 in Detroit. We will have you covered through all 7 rounds, whatever the New York Jets do. Each move they make, each draft pick they hand in, we will discuss it here on the podcast. This is episode 295 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. We have almost hit 305 episodes away from 300 total episodes. Today, you can find this both on YouTube and all the different audio podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, Google, iHeartRadio, whatever you listen to or whatever you use to listen to your podcast audio. You can find this. You can also now find this on YouTube. The Bubs on Sports YouTube page will have all episodes from In the Trenches with Gang Green. Looking to expand, looking to grow a little bit more. I'm setting a goal of 1,000 subscribers by week 1. It's a lofty goal, but I think we can achieve it. I appreciate all the support. We're at 172 right now, so it's going to take some time. It is definitely going to take a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to providing a lot more content for all you guys. As always, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. We're almost 300 episodes into this. And now, of course, more episodes here you can now watch on YouTube. Outside of the guest episodes being on YouTube, we'll post a lot more of these episodes now as well on YouTube, and eventually might end up just turning it into just a YouTube channel itself. But those are things down the road. We got a lot to discuss today on the podcast because, of course, it's the New York Jets. They go out and make a move. It's an April 11th. It's a random Thursday in April. And here we are. We get some news today as Ashtyn Davis resigns. As you could see here on the screen, for those of you watching on YouTube, the Jets are reassigning safety Ashtyn Davis. Sources said the 2020 third-round pick had interest from a few teams after a career-high 3 interceptions in 17 games last season, but wanted another year with head coach Robert Saleh and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. That was from Mike Garafolo of NFL Network. And look, this is a really solid move for the New York Jets. I think it's definitely not too surprising, but it was definitely something to keep an eye on as to if Ashtyn Davis was going to come back or not. And it's crazy how the Ashtyn Davis career or tenure with the New York Jets has gone since being drafted in 2020, where he comes on, struggled early on in his career, first couple seasons, didn't do a whole lot. You were kind of questioning his role. It felt like he was going to go up there again in that 2020 NFL draft for the Jets as another pick that didn't work out. It was going to be another blemish on Douglas's resume, along with the picks of LaMichael Pirine and James Morgan and Bryce Hall and Denzel Mims, Mekhi Becton. The best player to come out of that draft was Bryce Huff, who also is no longer with the team. Of course, he goes to Philly. So you were kind of wondering early in Ashtyn Davis's career as a third-round pick what he was actually going to turn into. You know, he was a track star at Cal. He had a lot of athleticism, had a lot of speed. There was a lot of potential there from an athletic standpoint, but was never able to put it all together with consistent playing time on the field. His first 2 seasons only played 10 games in 2020, then only played 13 games in 2021. But over the last 2 years, you've seen some improvement, 14 games in 2022. And then last year where he went out and really dominated, put together a full 17-game slate and saw a lot of really good things. And, you know, he was mentioned at the end of the season. It seemed like there was multiple reports that came out that he looked to try and find another place, try and find an area where he can get a starting gig, a starting opportunity with another team. Obviously, the market wasn't like that. You heard Robert Saleh about a week ago on the Jets podcast, the New York Jets podcast, talk about how they love Ashtyn Davis. They would love to have him back. They like what he brings both on the field, off the field, what he was able to do last year in a career year. So it really feels like this is one of these moves that is best on both sides. It's a win-win for both sides. From an Ashtyn Davis perspective, right, he wanted to look around, try to get more money, try to get a long-term deal, potentially a starting gig somewhere. the market wasn't as robust, wasn't as good as he thought. So he comes back to the Jets. He likes Ulbrich. He likes Saleh. They've developed him since, of course, they were hired in 2021 after his rookie year, where he played 3 years under of total of 4 years with the Jets, total of 54 games played, 44 of them under Ulbrich and Saleh. He gets another opportunity to come out, continue to prove his wealth, and then maybe next year potentially finds a starting gig elsewhere. Maybe it's with the Jets, whatever the case may be. That's the bridge you cross in 2025. But in an all-in year in 2024, you're not even worried about 2025. So that's the win-win perspective from Ashtyn Davis's side. And then from the Jets side, it's, hey, you get another depth piece. You get your third safety back, right? You re-sign Chuck Clark, who I've said it all along. That feels more like a signing than a re-signing because Chuck Clark didn't play a snap with the Jets last year. He hurt himself on the final practice of OTAs. He tore his ACL, missed the entire 2023 campaign. So really that's an addition, not so much bringing a guy back. That's really, it feels like a free agent signing, not much of a re-signing because he didn't play. So you get Chuck Clark back. Of course, Tony Adams is there. Now you bring back Ashtyn Davis as that third safety, and you've also got JBC, Jarek Bernard-Converse, as the fourth safety. You didn't see a whole lot of playing time last year, was a 6th-round pick. More of, dealt with the injury, of course, was placed on IR early in the season. Didn't really see a whole lot, but another guy too, depth. The Jets have never sold high at the safety position. They never had. That's just not what they do. It doesn't mean that that the safeties aren't good. It's more they like to develop. They like cheaper options. They like more under the radar options. They're not necessarily a team that's going to go out there, spend a fortune, spend a ton of money, sign a guy to a multi-year contract to come in and play safety. They just don't do that. So that's kind of what else this move signals. I doubt they go out and bring in a Justin Simmons or somebody like that at this point. I think you're looking at, you bring back Ashtyn Davis. You now have 4 safeties. I still think you can look towards adding a safety in the fourth or in the day 3 of this draft. Rounds 4 through 7. You got, 6th-round pick, 2 7th-round picks, something like that. Bring him in. See if you can get lightning in a bottle. See if you can find a guy with a high ceiling. Let him sit. Let him develop depth. That would certainly be something I would still welcome. I think most people would. But you've got 4 safeties now. And Chuck Clark, Ashtyn Davis, all these guys provide a lot of versatility. And that's something else that you have to like about Ashtyn Davis is his ability to be a threat on special teams. And I talked about this the day Justin Hardy signed with the Browns. It felt like when he signed with the Browns, it was even more of a priority for the Jets to try and get Ashtyn Davis back because they lost the special teamer in Justin Hardy. Now you get Davis back, you re-sign him. The terms of the deal aren't out just yet. But now that you get him back, you get another special teams guy. We know how much the Jets value special teams. You get Chuck Clark, who, of course, versatility, can play the box, can play the slot, can play free safety, strong safety. Ashtyn Davis has that similar versatility, both on special teams and, of course, there at safety. When you look at some of the numbers last year, had 6 takeaways, 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles to recover, 8 passes defended, and just 217 snaps. We've talked about this Jet team, not so much last year, but really in 2022. They struggled to force turnovers. Last year, they were able to force turnovers, but it's still something that sometimes they miss opportunities. Like, there is a lot of times where the New York Jets have chances of turnovers. Like, we've seen a couple turnovers bounce off Mosley's hands, bounce off of Tony Adams' hand. This is a team that's not the best intercepting team in the league. They're just not. They don't, when it comes to that, when it comes to forcing turnovers, they'll go through stretches where they miss opportunities, where the ball will be on the ground and they don't get it. That's something Ashtyn Davis brings. Some guys are a ball magnet. He's a ball magnet. He forced 6 takeaways last year. He had 6 takeaways. He's a ball magnet. The ball finds him. You can always have one of those guys on your defense. It's always nice to have one of those guys in your back pocket that late in a game can jump on a fumble, can pick a ball off like we saw him do in 2022 against Cleveland. And we also saw him too. They were able to, on special teams, they were able to jump special teams, jump on that onside kick. I believe it was Will Parks. I don't think that was Ashtyn Davis, but he had the interception that game. It always helps to have a guy that late in games, if the Jets are running a 3 safety look, Have a guy back there that you can trust, you can rely on if it's an error throw to come up with it. Recently, the Jets have sometimes struggled hauling in interceptions. Ashtyn Davis is not one of those guys. So it's always nice to have that as well. And look, it's a solid safety room. Is it a great signing? Is it a signing that's going to move the needle to us win a championship? No. But it's a solid move. It's a move that I think all Jets fans welcome. And I'll be honest, I was very hard on Ashtyn Davis for the first couple of years of his career. I legitimately didn't know why he was still on the team. Really going into the last 2 years because he didn't do anything in his first 2 seasons. But this is a guy that, credit to him, credit to this coaching staff, has really developed into a really nice depth third safety on a team that's all in. And you got to give him a lot of credit. A lot of credit, especially from a draft class that was ugly. Especially from this coaching staff, too. They easily could have just, Ashtyn Davis, gone, move on from the 2020 draft class completely. No, they kept working with him. They kept, helping him out. And here he is, gets a second contract, which is always a good thing for a general manager to give a draft pick a second contract. Lots of improvements there. And again, credit to this coaching staff, this defensive coaching staff. We could criticize Saleh, which we have, and there is reasons to criticize him. But you gotta, for things like this, you have to give him credit because Ashtyn Davis looked lost. He looked lost. Saleh came in, implemented his system. He's done a complete 180 in his career. And now he's getting a second contract. Really like this move. Quickly here, look at some other numbers. He had career highs in fumble recoveries last year, passes defended, interceptions. He had 4 stuffs. His 37 total tackles were second most in his career. So really, when you look at the numbers, he had the best season of his career statistically in many different areas. And of course, when you watch him, another thing too, that doesn't always pop up on the stat sheet, or it does, obviously, with tackles. But another thing, too, that I will say that you have to watch more to realize is he got a lot better at tackling. First couple years of his career, I always say he kind of runs around like he had ants in his pants. Took terrible routes, took terrible cuts, missed a ton of tackles, just over-pursued guys in the open field. Something that he's really worked on is open field tackling. His missed tackle rate has decreased a lot. Like, this is a guy who doesn't miss a ton of tackles anymore. Early in his career, he was missing a lot of tackles, taking terrible routes, terrible one-on-one, terrible in the open field. All of those things have improved. So credit to him, credit to the coaching staff. They get a deal done. Ashtyn Davis re-signed. Again, the details are not out. But you now look at this safety room consisting of Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Ashtyn Davis, Jarek Bernard-Converse, and I'd still expect the day 3 pick there. I doubt a splash move comes, even if they didn't re-sign Ashtyn Davis. I didn't see Justin Simmons being that much of a reality, but who knows? Jets have surprised us before, but this is a solid move here on a Thursday, April 11th. Jets always providing content. This one is good content as Douglas continues his strong free agency and strong offseason, officially marking 2 weeks from the NFL draft. So as always, hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate all of the support. We'll have a lot more content coming your way, both on Apple Podcasts, all different podcast platforms, and of course here on YouTube as we do more video stuff. If you haven't already, make sure subscribe to the Bubs on Sports YouTube channel. We'll have a lot of Jets content on there, a lot of In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast on there. Moving on, there'll be both video and, of course, audio as well as I look to get to 1,000 subscribers by week 1. That's the goal. Appreciate all the support. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening and watching. Stay tuned. A lot more content coming your way. Thanks for watching.